everyone, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. My name is Candace St. James. Thanks for coming back. And I am so excited because this tutorial is our first ever sewing thing. And so I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a challenge. I want you guys to make a pair of some awesome bell-bottom pants. And so today we are going to go ahead and I wanna start doing a little series about making certain tops, certain things. Ready or not, let's get fabulous! But before we get started, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and tell all your friends about this. And let's go ahead and start sewing. And I'm super excited about this and it's about to get sickening, guys. So before we get started on this one, we are gonna need a measuring tape. We're gonna be taking a couple measurements on this so we can get accurate size pants. So what we're gonna go and do is we're gonna do a waist thing. And before you get started, before you guys personally get started, you do need, if you are a naturally born male, you will need some hip pads on because when we're drag queens now, so we are altering our bodies to make it look more feminine. So you need your hip pads on because it's gonna give you a new waist. Your waist is up here now and it's not necessarily down here where your normal waist is. We start out. And my new waist measurement is a 41. I think that's a big ol' ass. Then we want to do our crotch to just above our belly button, where you want the pants to go. And we're gonna do about 14 inches high, because my belly button is right here. Actually, probably about 15 inches. We'll do it. And then you need your crotch to your knee measurement. That is, for me, you want to go to the bottom of the knee. So mine is 13 and a half inches. And then your bottom of your knee to your floor. About 20 inches for mine. And that's all we do for that one. That's all of our measurements we're going to be taking. So now you can take your hip pads out and get more comfortable. So for this pair of pants tutorial, we are going to go ahead and need a few various essentials. So we are going to need, first of all, your measuring tape that you use to measure your hips with and your new pad measurements. You're going to need some pins. You will need some kind of tracing paper, butcher paper. I've used even wrapping paper in the past, something really cheap. So we're going to actually, we have an alternate, and then we also have our regular choice fabric, and we are going to be using that to go and make these pair of pants. But I'm going to show you first how to make the pattern, and let's get started. Let's get fabulous! So what I did was I took a pair of leggings that actually just fit me just perfectly, and I went and I based my pattern off of that. That's what we typically do as drag queens. We just kind of find patterns that we just kind of do. And so the reason why I asked for measurements before is we're going to go ahead and start tracing around. But on the crotch area, you're going to see me measure, and that basically was so I can go ahead and get an accurate measurement for the area that I want to make it high-waisted. So it's going to go above the natural waistline. And so I wanted to go ahead and make a mark as far as the total distance from my crotch to my belly button. So that's why I did that. So now I just take my ruler, or a very straight object. In this case I'm using a hip curve, and I'm just drawing on the straight edge the area where I wanted to go ahead and make my new waistline, and that's going to just be a straight line. And then you go ahead and you just go around and you trace it all. The reason why it's in half is because that's where the knee goes, and so basically we will be going ahead and cutting it off there, and then we're gonna start making the flounce at the bottom layer. So here I'm beginning to go ahead and we're gonna start making the flare. So I'm actually taking a measurement of my crotch to the bottom of my knee, and that's the measurement that I'm using right now. And that is where we're gonna draw a straight line, and after that is where the flare is gonna start. And now we just go ahead and we make way for make more space so we can bring down the rest of my pair of pants, and we're gonna trace that, and that's the part where the magic's about to happen. You always want to make sure when you're tracing other garments to make sure that it's pretty neat and pretty pristine, only because you want to make sure you're getting accurate measurements of the actual garment that you actually are tracing. But finish tracing everything from head to toe, and then we will begin the fun. So now we're going to be taking measurements from one side of the leg to the other side of the leg just to see how much of a distance it is between each other, because we're going to be making 3 dots that are pretty close or very close to the exact same measurement of in between each one. And we marked the halfway mark between our crotch and our bottom of our knee, so we're going to go ahead and draw 2 perpendicular lines in all the way back up to that bottom of the knee. This is what's going to cause our flare. So after all this is done, you really want to go ahead and start cutting out all your pieces, all your whole thing you want to cut out from head to toe. Once this is all cut out, you want to go back into the perpendicular lines that you had just cut out, and you want to go ahead and make sure you just cut a straight line. You just follow that straight line in between that you had just made in the pant leg. This is what's going to be our flare. And so it doesn't really move very well once you go ahead and cut them in a straight line. So you're going to have to go ahead and on the 2 end pieces, you're going to have to go ahead and make 2 horizontal lines just coming to the very edge, but you don't want to cut all the way through. The reason why is because you want this piece to just flare out naturally, and then you just make another pattern out of it. And so then you attach that piece to your you want to go ahead and attach this to another piece of parchment paper, whatever paper you use, and then you just tape it down. Determining how far you want the flare to be, how big and how flowy the bell bottom you want, is just based on how wide you want it set apart. You can choose to make it really big, you can choose to make it really small. You can choose to make it however you want to be. Once you figure out how far away you want it, how flowy you want to go ahead and tape it down with some Scotch tape and then just trace basically around it. This is the bell bottom flare that we're doing. And then at the bottom, you want to go ahead and trace the bottom piece now, and you want to kind of connect the dots. Go ahead and just go ahead and join the 3 pieces that you cut out with a dotted line. So now that this is a 4th of July look, I went to the fabric store and I picked the gayest fabric that I can find that would scream the 4th of July, and look what I found. So I start off using a zigzag stitch, and my machine messes up and it does not like me to do zigzags, so I have to start on a straight stitch, but then I go back into a zigzag. And this is going to give me the most stretch for what I want to go and do, because it's a stretchy fabric that we're using. So basically on one side of the pant leg, you want to go ahead and do one side, and then you want to zigzag the other side as well. But then you want to leave it opening like a cone, and that is how we start each pant leg. As you get into sewing, there's a right side and there's a wrong side, and in this one, the right side will be the area with all the print all over it. So you want to make sure that those 2 areas are kissing each other. So now that we are done with our pant legs, basically what you do is you put one pant leg inside out in through one that's right side out, and then you look for the U shape, and that's basically where we're going to sew our crotch. And we're going to sew this really, really good, because that's the area that is that has the most tension. And so when you're doing flips, when you're doing whatever, when you're dancing, whatever, that is what you want to watch out for. You want to make sure it's sewed really good. So you'll see me backstitch a couple times, but it's really hard to see in the next few segments. So now it's kind of obnoxious, but it's hard to see because of the fabric. And I'm going to start sewing the U that's for the crotch. And so you want to just go ahead and make sure you do those as you want to make sure that you do those definitely as good as you possibly can, sewing, back stitching, a million times, especially where the crotch is, because you don't want to have a blowout when you're when you're dancing in the middle of the floor in the middle of your number. You just don't want to blow out, and that's something that's so easy in a pair of pants to actually happen. During this time, it's very hard to see what I'm doing, but basically it's kind of folding over into this U, and my machine is deciding that it wants to go ahead and jam up a little bit, and so I'm trying to kind of diagnose that and deal with those problems as I am seeing. But definitely when you get to the U, you definitely want to go ahead and backstitch a little bit. That's going to secure your stitches and make sure that they don't come out. And right when you get to the crotch, that's when you really want to backstitch, because you don't want that blowout. And once you go back to the other end, from each end to each end, you want to go ahead and just quickly backstitch, and then you want to just lift your presser foot up and your needle, and then you can go ahead and clip your last little threads and turn it right side out of how it should be, and you got yourself a pair of pants. And you can go ahead and put a waistband on there if you want to. I didn't include that in this video only because I never really did a waistband, so I did that off camera. But you can add whatever you want to this look. You can add fringe, you could add whatever you would like. And this is the finished look. This slowly but surely will be a pair of pants that you can totally go ahead and just wear about. This is very stretchy, very form-fitting. It just fits your curves. So thank you guys so much for coming back to my channel and learning how to sew with me a little bit. I always enjoy sewing. That's one of my favorite things as far as drag is concerned, about making new outfits and just putting a smile on your face and showing people what you can really do with your talents and stuff like that, and just creating your own outfits. It doesn't have to be sewing, but just doing something that's different and more proactive rather than going and buying an outfit that everyone has. I'm actually just super stoked about it, and so I can't wait for you guys to go ahead and see what's to come. We're gonna go ahead and do a top piece for this bell-bottom look, and I am super stoked about it. We're gonna do totally red, white, and blue, because we're gonna go full 4th of July, and we're gonna go ahead and make sure it can really pop with the reds and the blues and the sparkles and all that. We're gonna make sure it looks really, really intensely dragish. And so sorry about it, but not really sorry about it, but I am super excited. So please continue to watch. Please go ahead and tell all your friends, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. And ready or not, guys, let's get fabulous. Let's get sickening, guys. Let's go. Thank you guys so much for coming back and watching my videos. Thank you.